engaged in insurrection or given aid or comfort to those who've engaged in insurrection won't be able to run again for federal office. And yet they did allow Donald Trump to do exactly that. So in both instances here, they either added something to the Constitution that doesn't exist in deference to Trump, or they took something away from the Constitution that does exist in deference to Trump. And so when Trump comes forward and says that he wants to end birthright citizenship, despite the fact that it's in the Constitution, does that give you some worry in terms of the moment that we're at right now, where the Supreme Court is effectively able to rewrite what the Constitution says to more closely align with either their political ideology or with Donald Trump himself?
Yeah, I don't think in this instance that is really much of a worry, in part because the Supreme Court has actually ruled on birthright citizenship before. I mean, this is not a new question for the Supreme Court. Like I said, it came up more than 100 years ago. The Supreme Court recognized what the U.S. Constitution said with respect to birthright citizenship, and it has consistently held that. So I'm not here to defend the Supreme Court. I'm not here to defend the immunity ruling because, as you point, they made something up out of whole cloth. In fact, they made something up out of whole cloth, notwithstanding the fact that the framers did put immunity for members of the legislature, for Congress, and not for the executive branch. So it was sort of counter history, but it was not counter textual, right? It wasn't like against the text. And I agree with you also that on the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment on the disqualification, there the Supreme Court had to do a lot of dancing to get around that plain text by saying that it was not up to the states to make that determination. It was up to the federal government, to Congress to do that. Here, there just isn't any way that Donald Trump by executive order is going to be able to affect this. And I think by focusing on it in that frame of reference, we kind of miss the point here, which is that Donald Trump is demagoguing. He knows he can't do this. He is demagoguing it because he wants to set up a straw man that allows his supporters to believe that he has been thwarted by the big bad deep state. When this doesn't happen, he will blame the court. He'll blame everyone except for him, and he'll say that he was thwarted by the deep state. He is trying to breed cynicism. He's also trying probably a little bit to work the refs, right? The Supreme Court says no here, and then he basically says, okay, well, you owe me on the next one. So I think that there's a lot of bad intent going on here, but I don't think it's going to do away with birthright citizenship.
Well, to that point, then, we're seeing that Trump is basically testing the fence to see where it's weakest. And yet he mentioned in his inaugural address that he wants to restore the rule of law. That's the quote that he gave. I know that was especially striking to you. Can I have your reaction to that?
I mean, it's like the arsonist saying that they would really like to do fire prevention. I mean, the reason why we have a crisis of rule of law in this country is because of Donald Trump. The reason why we have a crisis of democracy in this country is because of Donald Trump. The reason why we have the weaponization of government is because of Donald Trump. Let's remember, it was Donald Trump's first administration that led to a investigation of John Kerry, which Donald Trump's own political appointee said appeared to be politically motivated. It was Bill Barr who appointed John Durham to go after a cockamamie theory that led to acquittals. Donald Trump is the reason why we have a crisis in this country around democracy and rule of law. And for Donald Trump to stand on the stage and somehow claim that he is going to restore rule of law, that he's going to do away with weaponization of government, while he is appointing an election denier to be his attorney general and a FBI director who literally published an enemies list. It is beyond comprehension that the mainstream media, that the legacy media does not call him out as directly as they need to. And it is the reason, frankly, why I'm fed up and why millions of Americans are fed up with the billionaire class that owns these news outlets. They're sucking up to Donald Trump. They're sitting on the stage with him. And here we are with straight news reporting, not you, but in too many quarters, saying that somehow he wants to restore the rule of law.
Well, I think that's a good opportunity right here to point out that you founded Democracy Docket, which is the news outlet to focus on everything voting and elections. It's been a source of fearless journalism that sets itself apart from everything else in the media space that we've been seeing thus far. So just a quick note for people watching right now, if you want to support independent media as legacy media continues to drop the ball and bend the knee to Donald Trump and the Republican Party every chance it gets, please make sure to sign up. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. Mark, to that point, on the dais at the inauguration, in the second row was all of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees. In the first row was a gaggle of billionaires who basically own all of the communication platforms in the United States. So, as somebody who founded his own media outlet, as somebody who has fought against the worst excesses of Donald Trump and this Republican Party, what was your reaction to seeing that?
Yeah, I had two reactions. The first is who owns who? Like in this relationship, who owns who?
Right.
I mean, are they the ones in control of Trump, or are they the court jesters that Donald Trump summons when he wants a dinner companion, and he is putting them all in a box? But we know one thing: we know that there is an unholy alliance between them, where right now it is a one scratches the other's back, and vice versa. And the loser in all of this is the truth, and the loser in all of this are the viewers and the readers and people who rely on the news. So, that's the reason why, long ago I started Democracy Docket. It's part of the reason why, seems like just yesterday, but we're now in, I don't know how many episodes we've done together.
Yeah, almost 250.
Yeah, almost 250. Why this is so essential? Because honestly, if it were up to the legacy media, they would be feting Donald Trump, as they are. Like literally feting him with like hors d'oeuvres and black tie and all that. That's what they'd be doing. And the losers would be the American public, and you and I and many, many others in the alternative and independent media space are here to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'm confident in the end, hopefully we will prevail.
And finally, let's finish off with this. I know that a lot of people watch the inauguration take place, and they watch the fact that despite all of our best efforts, still Donald Trump was able to come out the victor and take the oath of office. Still, he was able to cast aside all of the prosecutions that were pending against him. So what's your message to those people in light of this, so as to reiterate the importance of making sure that we all stay in this fight?
Yeah, so look, Donald Trump wants you to give up. Donald Trump wants you to believe that he is all powerful. That is why he is saying, I'm going to do all of these executive orders. I'm going to do away with birthright citizenship. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. He wants you to believe that you are powerless and that there is nothing you can do. And if you are listening to the sound of my voice and you are watching this video, I am here to tell you that is not true. We are building a new opposition movement. It is in its nascent period. It is just now Donald Trump taking power. And we need to make sure that at every stage, we make sure that people know what he is doing to them, what he is doing to screw senior citizens, what he is doing to harm the people who are the most vulnerable in our communities. And that's not going to happen through the legacy media. That's going to happen because of the good work, Brian, you do, hopefully some of the work I do with Democracy Docket. But most importantly, it's going to be because of the good work that all of the viewers do. So I want you all to stand up, not kneel down. I want you to be proud and not obedient. And mostly, I want you to share the word that Brian and I try to bring you of one of hope and one of optimism and one of defiance, that if we all stick in this together, we will survive these 4 years and our democracy will continue.
Well, that was perfectly put. Exactly the message that I think that we need to send right now, especially on a day like today. Again, to those watching, if you want to support the invaluable work that Mark is doing, both in the courts and in the media space, please make sure to sign up for Democracy Docket. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Teller Cohen.
I'm Mark Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.